Because Kara's constantly, she's told that she is the harbinger of doom, harbinger of death for the human race.
Well, she says that the prophecy is she will bring humanity to its end, and she did. She brought them to the original Earth, and and the end of that, and the destruction of that, and potentially to the end of everything. So she sort of fulfilled that part of what her destiny was supposed to be.
You suck. You don't have
My thinking on the Six front, in terms of Head Six and who she was, the original idea was not to know whether she was a chip in his head or she was a hallucination of his subconscious. In the first year of the show, I was really invested in the idea that she was a manifestation of Baltar's subconscious, that he was essentially driven mad by the guilt of what he had done, by participating in the genocide of his entire people, that she was essentially his own voice speaking to him. But even as I said that, I was working in sort of plot lines along the course of the first season that sort of suggested that there was something else happening. And as time went on, and as we got into the third act of the show, I started to come around to the idea that she couldn't just be a manifestation of a man gone mad, that she had to be something more, that there was some other presence, some other force, something else at work in the show that had to be justified and had to be validated. Else, what was all that about anyway?
Well, because she applied influence in so many situations that was undebatable. Like it was actually helping.
There were things
service
that she
the Cylon
knew or
agenda.
said that could not have been explained by a rational means.
Well, not to mention episode 7, 6 Degrees of Separation, in which she appears literally and physically, and everyone else can see her. And Baltar is forced to deal with the fact that
that actually is happening.
Right.
Yeah.
You suck. You don't have
So was the CIC always the Opera House?
No. A lot of these were images or thoughts or ideas that were either born in the writer's room, in discussions among the staff, or somebody sort of created them on the page, or someone had a suggestion, and they sort of worked their way into the fabric of the show, and you would say, that's an interesting idea. I'm not quite sure what it means, but I love the iconography of it. The Opera House was something that actually Michael Reimer, the director, came up with, as a place to put Baltar, and I don't even remember what the original iteration of that was, but there were various versions, and we say, oh, well, this is interesting, and I like the symbolism of it, and there's something here to be mined later. We like what it sort of does in this episode and where it's taking us, but we don't feel obligated to know exactly what it means right now. And then later, the challenge of doing a series like this, in my opinion, is then to take those sort of inspirational ideas where you're throwing something against the wall just because you think it's pretty, and you think that's an interesting place to go, and then to make a mosaic out of that and say, okay, well, yeah, I threw this over here and I didn't know what it meant, but now it's a part of the picture.
You suck. You don't have
But a lot of guys in your job don't have that discipline. A lot of guys in your job, head writer, say either we're going to map it out so painstakingly and specifically that there's no room for improvisation, jazz is not allowed, or, hey, let's just make it up as we go along, man. It's cool, that sounds good, that sounds good.
You suck. You don't have
I like that science fiction is open to interpretation and that the answers aren't all nailed down. And
let me get this straight. Some nerd takes a cheesy 60s sci-fi show and turns it into something a little bit more realistic.